Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. If you've been following us, you know what went down last weekend at UFC Paris. We went a perfect 4-4 on our betting picks. That's right, every single prediction cashed. Renat by KO, Bukauskas by KO, Benoit signed the knee with the submission, and Imavov by decision. That kind of clean sweep doesn't happen every weekend, but it just shows that with the right analysis and strategy, you can actually beat the books. Now, this Saturday, September 13th, we've got another UFC Fight Night coming up with some really interesting matchups. We are talking about prospects trying to make a name, veterans looking to bounce back, and stylistic clashes that could turn into money making opportunities if you know where to look. In this video, I'll break down 5 fights, give you my analysis on each one, and of course the betting angles that I believe have real value. By the end, you'll have a complete guide for UFC September 13th, and make sure you stick around until the end because I'll also give you a little preview of our upcoming underdog picks video. And trust me, you don't want to miss that. So let's dive right into it and start with fight number 1. First up, we've got José Medina taking on Dusko Todorovic. Now, this is one of those fights where experience meets raw potential. Medina is still relatively unknown on the big stage, but he is hungry, aggressive, and has the kind of forward pressure that can make veterans uncomfortable if they are not careful. He's shown flashes of heavy hands and a willingness to exchange in the pocket, which can be both a blessing and a curse depending on the opponent. On the other side, Dusko Todorovic has been there with some top names already. He is a fighter that mixes solid boxing with a strong clinch game, and when he is on, he can really smother his opponents. But he's also had issues with the durability. We've seen him get caught and finished before, and against someone who's willing to throw volume like Medina, that risk is always there. So how do we look at this from a betting perspective? If Medina comes out reckless, Dusko's experience and composure could carry him to a clean win. Maybe even a late finish once Medina starts to slow down. But if Dusko's chin shows cracks again, Medina's power could make this a live underdog spot. The value here depends a lot on the line. If Dusko is a heavy favorite, the smarter play may actually be to sprinkle something on Medina, especially by cow. This one is closer than most people think, and stylistically, it's going to come down to who improves their game first, the young lion's aggression or the veteran's composure. Next up, we've got a really interesting matchup. Kelvin Gastelum versus Dustin Stoltzfus. Kelvin is a name every UFC fan knows perfectly. He's been in there with some of the very best like Adesanya, Whitaker, Darren Till, and he's pushed them to their limits. Even though he's had a rogue stretch with wins and losses, one thing about Gastelum is clear. He's never outclassed. He is durable, tough, and always dangerous. With that crisp boxing and strong wrestling base, dropping down again, he's clearly looking to make another run, and this fight is a big test to prove he is still a factor. On the other hand, Dustin Stoltzfus coming as a guy who's been grinding to establish himself in the UFC. He is not the most flashy fighter, but he is consistent, disciplined, and he doesn't shy away from grappling exchange. Stoltzfus is the kind of fighter who can drag Kelvin into a slower, grinding fight if Gastelum doesn't keep the pace high. His ground game can be a problem if Kelvin underestimates him. From a betting standpoint, Kelvin is obviously the favorite, but he has the pedigree, the resume, and the big fight experience. But the big question is which version of Gastelum shows up. If it's the sharp, motivated Kelvin who fought Adesanya in a classic, then Stoltzfus is in for a long night. If Kelvin shows up flat or struggle with the weight cut, certainly this fight could get much closer than the odds suggest. The safe play here is Kelvin Gastelum, probably by decision, given his durability and Stoltzfus toughness. But don't ignore props, a late finish or even a grinding 3-round decision but makes sense. Either way, this fight tells us a lot about whether Gastelum still belongs among the elite or if Stoltzfus can finally make a statement winning his career. Now let's move on to Rafa Garcia versus Jared Gordon. This one has the makings of a gritty, back and forth battle. Rafa Garcia is one of those fighters that fans love because of his toughness and relentless style. He's not the kind of guy who's going to blow you away with highlight reel knockouts, but he will pressure, wrestle, and grind for every second of the fight. He averaged over 6 takedown attempts per fight, and if he gets on top, he is heavy, he is sticky, and he makes his opponents work hard just to stand back up. That Mexican warrior mentality really shines through every time he competes. Win or lose, he makes it a war. On the other side, we've got Jared Gordon, a true veteran of the lightweight division. Gordon has been around for a long time and he's fought some very top names. What makes him dangerous is his ability to adapt. He is a well-rounded fighter with solid boxing, underrated wrestling, and a pace that can wear down opponents if they aren't ready. A lot of fans remember him for that controversial fight against Paddy Pimblett. Many believe Gordon actually won that fight, and that shows you can hang with the UFC rising star. Stylistically, this is fascinating. Rafa Garcia is going to be the aggressor, looking to shoot takedowns and control the fight on the mat. Jared Gordon, Talk, has excellent takedown defense and is very good at creating a scramble to get back up. On the feet, Gordon is a bit cleaner technically, using straight punches and combinations, while Rafa tends to wing hooks to close the distance before shooting for the legs. From a betting perspective, this fight screams close decision. But guys are talk, neither one gets finished easily, and the judges might have to decide who wins based on control time versus striking volume. If you like props, the fight goes the distance is a strong angle here. My lean is towards Jared Gordon. His experience, striking polish, and ability to stuff takedowns might give him just enough to edge out a decision. But if Rafa Garcia is able to change his wrestling effectively and keep Gordon down, he absolutely could grind out a win. This is one of those fights where the underdog has real value depending on how the odds come in. Now let's move on to an interesting matchup that came together unexpectedly, Rob Font versus David Martinez. Originally, Rob Font was sent to face Raul Rosas Jr., but that fight fell through and the UFC found a replacement in Martinez. This completely changed the landscape because it was supposed to be a generational clash between a veteran like Font and a rising prospect like Rosas. Comes in with a lot of experience. He's been in the top ranks for years with a very sharp striking game, especially his jab, which is arguably one of the best in the entire bantamweight division. However, he has been on a talk skid lately, and many wonder if he still has enough left in the tank to compete with the younger and hungry contenders. On the other side, David Martinez steps in with the golden motivation. Nothing to lose and everything to gain. Fighters like that are always dangerous because they don't carry the pressure, they just go in there and leave it all inside the octagon. Martinez has a more aggressive style, looser, and if he is able to push the pace from the very first round, he could make this a difficult night for fun. But let's be real, Font's experience against elite competition is on another level. He's shared the cage with names like José Aldo, Corey Sanhagen, and Marlon Vera that give him a clear edge in terms of mental preparation and timing. The real question is how well Martinez adapts to taking such a high profile fight on short notice. In my opinion, the most logical outcome will be Font using his striking, keeping the distance, and controlling the pace of the fight. But watch out, if he gets careless and Martinez lands something clean, we could have an upset. Sometimes it's this last minute replacement that completely change the narrative of a card. So the smart pick here would be to lean on Rob Font, but with an open eye to the possibility of an upset if Martinez capitalizes on the opportunity of a lifetime. This fight might not be the most hyped of the event, but it's definitely one everyone should keep an eye on because it could redefine the immediate future of both fighters. Now let's get into the fight that I know a lot of fans are looking forward to, and probably the one that's generating the most debate in the MMA community. Diego Lopes versus Jen Silva. This is a matchup that on paper looks like fireworks because you've got two incredible dangerous fighters who are not afraid to take risks and who always deliver action inside the octagon. Let's start with Diego Lopes. He's quickly becoming a fan favorite for a reason. Every time he steps into the cage, he brings excitement. He's shown slick jiu-jitsu, he's aggressive off his back, and he's got that killer instinct that makes him dangerous at all times. Lopes thrives in a scramble, he has submission from everywhere, and he's one of those guys that if you make a mistake, even for just 1 second, he'll capitalize on it and end the fight. His performance against Mofsar Efloev, even though it was a loss, put him on the mat because he gave a top contender hell on short notice. Since then, people have been keeping their eyes on him. But here's the thing, while Lopes has the jiu-jitsu advantage, his striking defense still has a lot of holes. He tends to eat shots when he's trying to close the distance, and against someone like Jen Silva that could be a recipe for disaster. Jen Silva, on the other hand, is a guy who's coming in with insane momentum. He's powerful, explosive, and his striking is just on another level compared to Lopes. He's got knockout power in both hands, he can throw combinations with speed and precision, and perhaps most importantly, he's got the kind of takedown defense and movement that could neutralize a grappler like Lopes. Silva's ability to keep the fight standing is going to be the X factor here. If this fight stays on the feet, it's really hard to see Lopes surviving the storm. Jan Silva's striking variety, whether it's the crisp boxing combinations, the sharp leg kicks, or even his ability to blitz forward with power shots, just feel like too much for Lopes to handle over 3 rounds. Now, some people are going to say, well, what if Lopes drags him into deep waters? What if he gets Silva tired or somehow manage to pull guard and catch him in a submission? And yeah, that's always a possibility. But if you really look at Silva's recent performance, he's shown composure, he's shown improved cardio, and most importantly, he doesn't panic when he gets put in bad spots. That's a huge difference maker. He doesn't give opponents easy opportunities. Stylistically, this fight is about whether Lopes can force his game onto Silva or if Silva can keep the fight where he wants it, standing up. And honestly, based on what we've seen, I think Silva has the tools to dictate where this fight takes place. I expect Lopes to try and shoot early, maybe pull war or work from the clinch to drag Silva down, but every failed attempt is going to drain his gas tank. Meanwhile, Silva only needs one clinch to change the entire fight, and I think that shot is going to land. So my prediction, Ian Silva wins the fight most likely by knockout. I think he's going to keep the distance, stop the takedown, and eventually catch Lopes with something big on the feet. Lopes is tough, not up about it, but toughness only takes you so far when you are eating clean, heavy shots over and over. This fight is a huge opportunity for both guys. If Lopes pull off the upset, his star power skyrockets even more because he will beat a dangerous striker in Silva. But if Silva wins, and I think he will, it position him as a serious contender in the division. For me, the pick is clear. Jen Silva gets it done and announces himself as the real deal in the weight class. And that's a wrap for our full breakdown and predictions for UFC on September 13th. We covered 5 fights on the card, looked at the style, strengths, and weakness, and gave you the picks that we believe has the best value. Our goal here isn't just to throw out random names, it's to show you the reasoning behind every prediction so that you can understand the fight game on a deeper level, and maybe even use that knowledge to make a smarter bet. If you've been enjoying this video, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our future breakdowns. We'll be here every single week covering the UFC, from fight announcement and news all the way to fuel betting prediction like this one. Also, drop your prediction in the comments below. Who do you have winning this card? Do you agree with us? Or do you see some upset happening? I always read the comment and it's awesome to see how the community is starting to grow with fighting fans and better sharing their thoughts. Thanks again for watching and supporting the channel. We had a perfect 4-4 on UFC Paris, so let's keep the momentum rolling into September 13th. I'll see you all on the fight night. Let's break down the action, cash some tickets, and enjoy another amazing UFC card together.